Okay, welcome to the Lobo podcast. We have Ken Garr, one of the funniest comedians in the country. Originally from Chicago, moved to LA, talk about his divorce, breakup, his sobriety, his recovery, a few stories about when we got a little bit too wasted, including the time he got into it with that security guard before meeting the booker for the Tonight Show. All right, so check out that episode, check out his blog, check out his Instagram, Ken Garr Was Taken. Also, if you want to record a podcast, hit up James Webb. Again, want to support the podcast, tell a friend, give me a subscription, and more importantly, subscribe to the Patreon. Episode 100 is out on the Patreon. Also, the one band episode is also out on the Patreon. Okay, Lobo done. Oh, wait, I didn't go.
Go ahead. Lock it up, baby.
Okay, welcome to the Lobo Den podcast. This is your host, Giovanni Diaz. I'm wearing a stupid tie-dye shirt, and my hair is long, and I think I'm getting fatter. And to my left is James Webb from People That Come to Studios.
Hi, James.
It's me.
And across from me is a very funny comedian, Ken Garr, who just came from the Laugh Factory, who had the best set.
Are you telling me you're asking me?
I'm asking. It was you, right?
Oh, I don't know. I went in, I did my spot, and I left.
And I was out. Okay.
I was all LA right now.
Oh yeah, he moved. So you originally, can you give me a little bit more about yours?
More?
Yeah, I love hearing not hearing myself, but I don't
How's
know
that?
how you like to record, but I like to hear like my voice.
Like Eminem.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I can't hear me. A little bit more snare. Can I get more snare?
That's what he says.
I have no snare in my head.
But you're originally from Chicago. When did you leave to, like, all right, I was born in LA.
Yeah.
I attack LA a lot on this podcast.
Okay.
You know, but you're out
You
there.
attack LA?
Yes.
Oh, we can talk about that.
I don't, I hate LA. I know you had issues. You're married now, right?
I am.
Okay. And then I know your wife had issues with the city of LA.
No.
That was a different girl?
The girl I moved out there with.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah.
that was it. Okay, that was it. So she went back. Oh, so you guys, I was listening to this thing when she left for 2 weeks. Did she ever come back from those 2 weeks?
No. No, she came back to get her car. And I had co-signed the car. And I was like, bitch, we need to refinance this. So I'm going to make the payments. I go, you've never made the payments ever in your life. You don't make payments.
So she did.
It's awkward going to a bank with your now ex-girlfriend. And like, we need to refinance the car. Oh, how come? Just give us the papers, man.
They always ask all these questions. Like I had a joke about Jared, right? Because I've returned. Only one was an engagement ring, but I've returned 2 rings for 2 different girls.
Oh,
to
I
Jared.
thought you meant the subway dude. I was like, yeah, he has some real bad problems
He
with
was,
women.
right? He does. He was. I thought it was just the weight
He's
loss.
in jail right now as we speak.
Yeah.
That always trips me out.
What was he doing? Like underage girls,
Underage
right?
girls, yeah, child porn, got all that stuff, dude. He's trying to catch up.
That subway just bounced right back.
He's like, I did not like high school. I was fat and now I'm skinny. I'm rich and I'm gonna go back to high school. Unfortunately, I'm an older man. This is frowned upon and illegal.
He was like Mike Jones, but illegal. With that song with Mike Jones back then, girls didn't want me, now I'm hot. They all up on me, but he did it with the girls.
I think you think I'm way cooler than I am.
But you grew up in the South Side, right?
Yeah.
Suburb, South Side.
I grew up in the South Side.
Mm-hmm.
I started stand up here in Chicago. I did riddles. I used to do the barrel laughs. I was like a suburb guy.
Barrel laughs.
I was in Oak Lawn.
Oh, okay.
I went to the Lion's Den once.
That was the original open mic before.
Right.
Okay.
I was so intimidated that I left there and I never went back. And
who was there at the time? Was
I forgot.
TJ and all that?
Yeah, like it's so funny, man. Like, yeah, I had such a weird journey into stand up because I never thought I was gonna do stand up full time ever in my life. I was just like, no way, dude. I'm like, I'm not gonna be broke and poor and this sucks. I don't want this. So I just did I was like a weekend warrior. I did it as a hobby. I did like 1 open mic a week. Meanwhile, like Hannibal, TJ, Best Selling, like all these like heavy hit, like now they're all famous now. Like we're crushing it. But it wasn't until about 7 years ago where I was like working every weekend on the road, and then I got fired from my job where it was like I was making a ton of money, and I decided
$200K.
What's that?
Well, $200K plus, right?
Yeah.
Well, you got fired or you quit?
No, I got fired.
Oh, okay.
I got fired. Yeah. I was gonna quit on July 31st, and me and my boss couldn't stand each other, and he ended up firing me on July 31st. So I got six months of unemployment.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, dude. They funded my move to LA.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, and I just lived off that. Then I had a ton of I like to joke that like I moved to LA with the clothes on my back and $57,000 in the bank. You know, a real come up story.
Like, what is it? Donald Trump, he got a small, what is it? Small
$700 million loan
from his dad.
He claimed it was just $2 million, but he inherited $700 million.
Yeah.
And if you had put it in a checking account at like 3% interest, he'd be a multi-billionaire. But now he's like barely can keep that money. So funny.
So you quit your job? No,
I got
you were fired. You were
Yeah.
fired.
I was a managing director at NASDAQ.
Okay.
Which sounds
real?
Yeah, it was pretty impressive. And then me and my boss just like it's like the dream job. I got paid to like go golfing with like CFOs and like just work with all these publicly traded companies, and like I like got insider trading tips, which I never used, by the way. And so I got that $57,000. And yeah, man, I just hated my boss. I hated the culture. I hated being in sales, and I just wanted to do stand up. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to do this for like a year. You know, I think I was 37 at the time. And I'm like, I'm going to give it till I'm 40. And I never looked back. You know, just kept going.
So then you and the girl from Chicago moved over.
So we broke up. And then I moved to LA. And then I got lonely. And then she said, hey, on my phone. I was like, hey, move to California. So we were broken up for like a month or two. But we were always on again, off again.
Okay.
Yeah. And then I went back and got her and drove her back out to LA, and she started working at a comedy club, and she was doing great, but she just hated it, man. She just hated it because like when she met me, I was making like $220,000 a year. We're eating out every night. We're like living it up. Like I'm throwing her money. Like, you know, she was sweet, and we loved each other, but like she just wanted to kind of like be taken care of and like, you know, take care of the house and do the laundry and. You know, so when I, quit all that, we were just like, well, we got a budget now. We can't be going out all the time. And she's like, cool. I'm going to go back to Chicago.
Because I was listening to that podcast. I was like, I thought that was the girl you married, your wife. I was like,
No.
oh, she comes back. She
No.
comes back in 2 weeks.
So here's what's funny. And I'm like, do I have time for the story? Yeah, of course. It's a podcast, right?
Yeah.
So I got divorced, right? I go to Riddles that day. I'm drinking at the time. I give the bartender my keys, and I go, don't give me the keys. I got divorced today. I go, don't let me leave here. He goes, all right, you got it. And I get drunk, and I go on stage, and I tell the audience, I go, you got a choice. I go, either do my act, I go, or I got divorced today, and I can talk about that. I go, what do you guys want to hear? He goes, you got divorce. So I talk about the divorce for like 10 minutes, whatever. Get off stage. Like the hottest girl in the world walks up to me and is like, was that real? And I go, yeah. She goes, you really got divorced today? I go, yeah. She's like, that was so cool. I'm like, thanks. And and she's like, I go, you should come back in 2 weeks. I'm headlining here. She's like, all right, I'll come back. And then I'm like sitting there with my brother, and I'm like, man, I just got divorced. I'm like, you got nothing to lose. Like, fuck it. So I put my name and number on a napkin, and I handed it to her, and I go, hey, I don't want to wait 2 weeks to talk to you. I was like, call me tomorrow. She's like,
girls like that.
Oh, I love it. And I'd never done that in my life. Never did that in my life. I was always intimidated by girls, couldn't talk to them. And I was just like, well, you know what? Your best friend in the whole entire world just told you they don't ever want to see you ever again. Like, bye. I'm going to change my name, by the way. Like, okay. And I was like, you know what? You got nothing to lose. So I gave her my number. Anyways, so I dated that girl for about a month. Didn't pan out because I was crazy. I ended up meeting the girl. I moved to L.A. at Riddles Comedy Club. And then, la-di-da-da-da. We dated for 3.5 years. She moved to L.A. We broke up. And then I always stayed friends with that original girl that I met the day I got divorced. And I just married her a year ago.
Because you were friends with her.
Yeah, for 6 years. I went to her wedding. She got divorced. We were both single. She's like, hey, let's hook up. And I'm like, yeah. And then we hooked up. She's like, I think I love you. I'm like, I think I love you too. She's like, nah, we're just going to bang and stuff. I'm like, yeah, for sure. And then she's like, I'm like terribly, madly in love with you. She's like, yeah, me too. So we got, I did the whole lockdown here for like 4 months. We got married last July, and then moved her out to California.
Oh, so she was out here.
She was here. We were long distance for 2 years.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank
on,
you.
On getting, because I was, all right, so I was I was confused because I know you were divorced the
Yes.
first time.
Yes.
Right? And it was like, what'd you say? You said something, you realized she was out when you were at a Sox game, and I forgot, you made a comment. Why
don't we just have everyone listen to that podcast first? So I was at a Sox game with my first wife.
Yeah.
And here's the story. So the left fielder almost dropped it. And I go, don't drop the ball, you bum. And she looks at me, she's like, don't be that guy. And I was like, you married that guy. Like, I'm that guy. I was always that guy. It's like, you just don't want me to be that guy anymore, you know? And I remember this comedian time, because I was struggling with, like, because there's a thing, like, when you're on stage, like you have to, like, speak your truth, right? Mm-hmm. Not to be, like, all weird, but, like, you have to speak your truth. So, like, when I first got divorced, I was still doing, like, my old marriage material. Mm-hmm. And I was at the Improv in Schaumburg one day. I'm like, I can't do this anymore. But then, like, nobody wants to hear about a dude getting divorced on stage. So I had to, like, figure out how to finagle that. And this headliner, Steve Trevino, told me, he's like, he's like, why'd you get divorced? I'm like, it's complicated, Steve, you know, blah, blah, blah. He's like, it's not complicated. He goes, one of you refused to change. Who was it? And I was like, it was me. He goes, there you go. He's like, talk about your divorce on stage. He goes, and you'll find it easier. And I did. You know what I mean? So, like, when I made it about my divorce as opposed to, like, divorce the subject, like, it made it much easier. And then I could retire all that material and start talking about me again. And I just went through that again. So I quit drinking, like, 3.5 years ago, and, like, all that shit I wrote when I was, like, a drinker, like, it's not me anymore. So you're constantly evolving as a comedian, and so I'm, like, constantly, like, reinventing myself, you know. And now I'm, like, with this girl that I met 6 years ago. I was best friends. We were best friends for, like, 6 years. And now we're married.
Like I said, congratulations. Like I was, I remember hearing, I think it must have been your divorce material, because I saw you at the Improv, right? It was one of those, I think you headlined, maybe it was one of those, like a Thursday headline or something like that.
Cool,
yeah. I saw you at the Improv, and then you were doing that joke about, like, the girls. Was that your first wife, or was it a joke? Started working out, right? When your girl starts working out, going to the gym or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, they go on a journey. Yeah. If your wife or girlfriend goes on a journey, that's it. You're done.
She's going on a journey for dick. That's what she's going on a journey for.
I'm just on a journey. I was like, we can do this together. It's just me. Just for me. Oh, no. Because my theory is, and it's right, I'm right, is that women start working out for the next dude.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, every breakup happens, like, 3 to 6 months before the actual breakup.
Dude, we have no idea.
Clueless,
I had no idea I was getting dumped the first time. I had no clue. Like, when we broke up and she said, we're just going to take a break, I really thought we were taking a break. I didn't know it was just something you say to people.
Oh, can I hug you?
and like a few weeks later, she was like hanging out with some dude. I was like, wait, they were just taking a break.
Yeah.
Like, what kind of break is this? I was like, no. Like,
nope. She got abs. Like, where the fuck did that come from?
You know? And I was like, oh, this is what's going on. You know what I mean? But when it happened, I was like, she was like, she's like, we were living together, right, at my mom's house. And then the reason we moved in together was pathetic. I was in my early 20s. I haven't changed that much, since then. But she got a fight with her mom. She wanted to move out, and I was like, "Hey, why don't you move in with me?" And my mom.
That sounds like an early 20s thing to do.
Yeah, but the reason I asked her to move is like, "Oh, dude," Giovanni was like, "All right, if she moves out, for sure I'll get laid tonight, right?"
Right.
And that's it. That was it.
It was all about getting laid.
And I remember that moment where we had sex, and then I probably came. I did come. The first time we had sex, I didn't come, and I was like. It was weird. It was interesting, and I was like, I don't think I even enjoyed that much. I was like, this is cool. I'm having sex, but whatever. But anyway, this time,
were you a virgin?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So this is a big deal.
Oh, no. I was talking about. I mixed it up. The first time we had sex, we didn't come. This particular night, we were already having sex.
Yeah.
But since I didn't have a place, or we couldn't, it wasn't that as frequent as I wanted. And I was like, I'm getting laid tonight for sure. Yeah. And I remember that moment. We had sex, and I came, and I was like, fuck.
Got a girl living with me now.
It all fucking hit me. I think Louis had a joke about that. It all rushed and everything you were pushing away when you were just trying to come or have sex, and all came in and we lived. But I remember when she was like, she's like, I'm gonna move out, but like not just because I think it's better. Like, we weren't breaking up, and I was like, oh, okay, she's moving out, but we're not breaking up. Like, it was just slowly doing.
So we're taking a break, and you're moving out, but we're okay. Got it. Yeah.
Yeah, but I was like, oh, we're not breaking up, and then I hate
those piecemeal breakups, dude. The older you get, the easier that shit gets.
Have you been the dumper or the dumpy? Like, I've never broken up with anybody.
So that's
I've
interesting.
only been dumped.
Historically, I was the dumpy.
Okay.
Even when I knew I was getting dumped. But after like getting sober and like getting like just really doing a lot of work on myself, as Californian as that sounds, like I all of a sudden I became the dumper, which was just like, because I wanted to find like my partner. I wanted to find the one, you know what I mean? So like my MO was like, I'd stay with a girl for like 3 years.
Yeah.
Even though I knew it was toxic, I knew it wasn't good. She was bad news. We didn't get along, whatever. And then we would break up and then, get back together and then break up. And then, okay, this is it this time. And then once I kind of like got sober and once I like got my shit together, like I knew exactly what I wanted. And within 3 to 5 minutes, I knew on a date, right? Like, no, this ain't the one.
Yeah.
And then one girl, I thought, oh man, I really like her. I'm really into her. And then after 3 months, I broke up with her and she was just like, why? I think like things are going well. I'm like, I think you're lovely. I think you're an awesome person. I really, truly hope we can be friends. I'm like, but you're just not the one, and I can't tell you why. And I didn't know why, truly. And it was like, thank you for the great breakup. She was like, really, like, this is like really healthy. I'm like, all right, well, but I just knew, like, you just know after a while, dude. Like, you're just like, this ain't it, man. And after a while, you just have to, like, just stick to your guns and know that, like, like I talk to so many people like, oh, I think so-and-so, like, there's some red flags. I'm like, break up with them right now. What? Maybe they, no, break up with them right now. Like, if you can't accept them for who they are and accept their flaws today, like, it ain't gonna get any better. I'm sorry.
No, it's true. It's true. It's true. This is what
not.
people need to hear. All right. I'm going to go. Like, I don't feel women tell their girlfriends this, right? Because I don't think I had a friend, right? Or my ex, her friend was a virgin forever, right? Mm-hmm. And then it was never even broached by their girlfriends, and it was never brought up. And I was like, and I don't think it's what happened with dudes, because eventually it'd be like, there'd be a conversation. They don't talk. She didn't drive. She didn't have a license. They don't have these, like, I feel honest, like some group of girlfriends do, but they don't have these conversations with each other. A lot of these groups of friends. So she was like, she'll date the shitty dude. Like, they'll give some advice, but at the same time, it's not like, they'll never give advice like that. Break up with him. Like,
right.
It's like,
so they're like, she'll figure it out.
You know what I mean? There was an episode, like, I was like, why don't you tell her, like me, it's like the first thing I want to ask her, like, why are you a virgin? Like, not that aggressively, probably.
Oh, dudes
actually
would not stop talking about it.
I was like, that's it. Like, if
Mike,
your friend was a virgin,
lose your virginity. Like, what are you doing? Oh, I'm just trying to. No, Mom, bro. Like, we will buy you a hooker, bro. Like,
Exactly.
just like, we're uncomfortable around virgins. Like, bro, Our buddy Brian was like that. He was a late bloomer. He didn't start jerking off till he was like 17.
Brian Morton?
What are you doing?
No. Oh. No, I was a late bloomer. When did you lose your virginity?
I was 15.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I couldn't wait to lose my dude.
I couldn't wait either, but it was like I was chubbier, so I didn't get till it was like 18. You know what I mean? I didn't get any play in high school.
I had like this crazy confidence in high school that I should not have had. I just did. Like, I go to these mixers at like St. Rita and Queen of Peace, and I could dance. You know what I mean?
You could dance?
Yeah. And I had hair, so I look like Eddie Furlong and shit. And I was just
from Leave It to Beaver.
No.
Wait, who's
from Terminator 2 and shit?
Before
they really got to shine him on, like that guy. Pet Cemetery.
I was so jealous of his hair, dude. Because I had this poofy hair. Mine would get poofy like Ronald McDonald. I have long hair now, but growing up, I never had long hair because I would always have this Ronald McDonald, like a Mexican Ronald McDonald would have this poof, and I'd be like, I can't, and I cut it. So this is the first time in my life I've ever had long hair.
You have great hair
now, right?
Yeah.
But growing up, I was a chubby Ronald McDonald kid. Who didn't get laid, you know what I mean? But I had a IBM FT, but I had my parents buy, and then I was like,
that was it?
That's it. That was,
Pictures.
pictures.
Download,
I had a folder of pictures and go through them or whatever, but you were confident, like Eddie Furlong.
Yeah.
And then you hooked up with this girl. Or was they have a girlfriend? Or
was it was a girlfriend, yeah. And she had already slept with somebody, so I was like, I'm for sure going to sleep with her. And I did. But yeah, it was like, it was crazy. We ended up dating for like a year and a half. I was like a relationship holic for a long time. Like, I was always in a relationship. And then it wasn't until like 3 years ago where I was just like, I'm done.
When you got sober, right?
Yeah. I just needed to stop everything. I just needed to stop and just like take a break and take a breath and just like, and once you do that, like all the shit that you've been like trying to push down your whole life comes to the surface. It's like Dr. Pimple Popper, like, oh, this is a good one. This one's juicy. Oh my God. Like, oh, this is my anger toward my parents. You know, oh God, there it is. And then it all comes out, and then like you just like, all right, and then you like let all that shit go, and you just get over it, and you're like, all right, what do I want out of my life now? You know, like I was seeing a therapist, and she fucked my world up, because like our very first session, she goes, "What's your legacy?" I was like, "Oh, I don't know, look, you know, people like let's party with me. I'm a nice dude." But I was like, she's like, "That's the bullshit legacy. Like, what are people gonna say about you?" And I was like, and that question just fucked me up, and I couldn't answer that question, and so like.
Was it before comedy, during comedy?
During comedy. This is a few years ago. Okay. I mean, this is like recently, like 4 or 5 years ago. And I'm just like, I don't know, man. Like, I don't know what they're going to say about me, you know? And so, like, I kind of just stopped everything, drinking, smoking, you know, fucking, and just, it allowed me to kind of just, like, figure out who I was for just a little bit, you know? And then Jen came, my wife, she, like, came into my life. Like, you know, she's always there, but, like, you know, she got divorced, and, you know, it was just kind of all came together, you know, and then like my career started getting way better, and, you know, I started getting funnier. I started like writing more and getting like deeper, and, you know, so like, you know, it all worked out, but it took like, so you're like, I'm a late bloomer. I'm like, I was a late bloomer too, like maturing. You know what I mean?
I
like,
matured like a year ago.
Yeah, me too.
Legit,
I feel like it, bro. Yeah.
Like 2 years ago, I was in my process of maturing. Like
yeah.
2-3 years ago, like I was better. I was drinking less.
Yeah.
And then I had a little downfall where there was my friend, you know, got this bar in Beach Park in the summer. It was a suburb guy.
Dude. Yeah.
So at first I went to, it was a little dive bar. There was nobody there. And I went to support, and it was just like, I was there to help out and support. Yep. But then it got popping, and it was like all these fucking dots, and it's like young 20s, and I'm like, and there was 3 months where I was just like there getting, like I remember I was just getting drinks for all these girls. Everybody, like I'd be talking to a girl here, and there was a girl across here, like the bartender was like, get her a drink, and her. And then, who are you? And then I was getting, and I was like, in 3 months, I was like, how much money did I just spend?
Right.
And in these 3 months, and then I was like, I went to a rule, 2 drinks. You know what I mean? And it started with a rule. It was 2 drinks, and I was good with it, except for went to Miami. Ooh. And and
Miami doesn't count. That's an asterisk. It should be Miami with an asterisk. There should just be an asterisk over the eyes. Whatever you're trying to do to improve your life, that stops in Miami.
Well, I went to help my friend out. He's a vegan. They had a vegan festival. I went to go help out. And so we went out Sunday night drinking. And then, like, I fell back to I was in my 2-drink rule. Like, because with me, I don't know what it was with you. Were you drunk? Were you off the, okay, so I could have 2 drinks. And it was no problem. That 3rd drink was question mark. I don't know where I'm going to end up. I could still maybe keep it at 3 drinks, or half of it, it's like I'm going to wake up in Kenosha, right?
Yep.
So then they poured a fucking... I went to the bar where my friend used to work, right? And they all know him. I was like, oh my God, what's up, blah, blah. He's like, no, drinks on us. And I see her, and I'm like, let me get a Bombay and Sapphire, or I mean Bombay and soda. And then I see her pour the Bombay.
Right. And then
fills it up.
Soda.
And then a splash soda. And I'm like, I'm looking at her. It's like, what do I do? I was like, I'm not going to be like, hey, you know that free drink you just bought me? Actually, you remake it and post Let's Booze it. I was like, you know what? I'm going to drink it. What's the worst that can happen, right? And then, I ended up fucking up all night till 5:30 p.m. with these strippers. We went back to a motel in Calle Ocho. I spent $4,000 that night.
Sounds awesome.
Broke the toilet, cut my toe, and I was like...
It's the greatest thing I've ever heard. Yeah.
And I do say this, that was kind of my rock bottom. That's when I...
Sounds awesome.
That's what I say. At least I got my dick sucked at my rock bottom.
I go to these AA meetings like, yeah, man, it's fucking like 3 chicks, man, and fucking doing all this blow, and I was like, this sounds fucking great. It's awesome. Were you the one sucking dick? No. Well, then you're good, bro. Like, everyone says, my worst day, I love this saying, my worst day sober is still better than my best day drunk. I'm like, then you weren't fucking doing it right.
No, you weren't.
I took 2 doctors home from a wedding one time, and I'm like, I'm the greatest person that's ever.
You did?
Well, they passed out. Full disclosure. I ended up tucking him into bed and just kissing their foreheads and then leaving. Yeah, that was. But walking out of that wedding, like, Ken Garr's the fucking man. He just bagged 2 doctors, and I let my friends think that for a long time. They're like, "You fuck?" I'm like, "What did you think?" Like I never answered the question directly, you know. And I just walked them back to their hotel. I was like, "What's up, ladies?" They're like, "Oh, you're passed out? Cool." So I get it, man. But you know, Miami, that's a fun story, but at the same time, like, you have to, like...
I needed it. I did need it.
You got to reconcile.
Yeah.
You know, and you got to be like, oh, fuck, what am I doing?
Yeah, I needed, like, that. It was, the moment was I was in the airport, you know, because what happened, it was like 5:30, we took an Uber, right? The other chick picked it up. She left, like, at 3. Me and the chick
On your credit card.
Yeah, we're talking about Selena, and she's talking about her abusive boyfriend. I'm talking, we're like, oh, I like
It's
you, I
the
like
most
you
stripper
too.
conversation ever. Yeah.
It's like...
Yeah.
And I'm like, I
I'm
get to
in
my
love with a stripper.
Oh yeah, she followed me on Instagram. She looks at my stories sometimes, still to this day. But anyways, like I went back to Miami. I was with my girlfriend. Like, should we hit her up? And she was like, no, I'm not paying. I'm like, no, that's not. I was like, all right.
Yeah.
I tried to take her back to that strip club, but it didn't work.
Your girlfriend?
Out. Yeah, I just wanted her to go. Like I wanted her to see.
Are you guys open or swinger or what?
So then I don't really talk about it on the podcast, but look.
Okay.
But we were looking for a third, right?
Okay.
All right, we were looking for, it was something like that. So, but then I was like, what about the stripper? She's like, we're not spending money. Like,
Right.
no, it's not.
No, that's not sexy.
Yeah, that's not sexy. I was like, all right. So then,
It's not easy finding a third, man.
No.
Like me and my wife aren't into that, but but my buddy Malone, they're a hot couple.
It's so hard. Like,
And it's either the girl wants to fuck the girl, right?
Yeah, it's not. It's
they don't want you involved at all.
They're called what are they called? They're called unicorn because they're so hard to fucking find. Like, okay, so she was on this group, right, about this type of stuff.
Okay, yeah.
And then I remember one of the guys posted like, dude. He was like, you know, in an open thing with his girl. My girl just said I could find a third, and I get to pick her. And I was just like, everybody was commenting, like,
good luck,
yeah. Crazy. And then me and my girl laughed about it because at first we tried where like, let me try to find the girl, and that led to almost broke up 3 times because of it. You know what I mean? Because it's not like the dude never should look for the girl. And I was like, I went with this. I was like, what about this girl, right? And she was like, I was like, oh, there's no history, right? Well, she is kind of, and then she finds something out. I was like, why didn't you tell me that? And so that's fucked up, blah, blah, blah. And so a few times, the one, me and her were just friends, and she saw like the messages, like, this isn't just friends. Like, what do you, to me it was. It never works, right? I mean, and it never works. So we didn't go with the stripper. I forgot what I was talking about.
It was a stripper. You guys were originally.
Oh, the stripper.
I don't want to pay for it.
So what happened? So I left, right? I went to my friend's house. Took an Uber there. It's 5. It's almost 6 p.m. I walk in, you know what I mean? They think I'm dead. Right. They don't know what happened to me. And they walk in, my mouth is moving like this because of, you know why. Yep. So then it's moving like that. He's there with his mother-in-law, his son, and they're like, oh, you're alive. And I was like, you want any food or anything? I was like, no. I took a 30-minute kind of nap where I didn't really sleep. I got up. He gave me a ride to the airport, and I'm just sitting in the airport, and I'm just going through my bank. I'm looking at my bank account, like everything is negative. Like I'm looking at my accounts, and I was like, I can't do this anymore. Yeah. I came back that summer, and I started caddying on weekends. I used to caddy, and I called up the caddy master, like, you need any caddies? So then I worked, basically that whole summer I worked every day. So my regular day job.
I went to Miami.
Yeah, basically, dude.
Oh, man.
I remember I was sitting there, I was like 4 caddying. So you go in front to see their balls, and I'm sitting there with the bags. It was one of the hottest days of the summer, and I was like, was this worth it? Like, what am I doing, dude? And so I had to spend the rest of the summer, I had to pay that back. Right. Pay, like, there was a joint banking account I had with my roommate because we had this property and the money went in there, drained that completely. Man. You know what I mean? He didn't know. Right. But I remember it was like a week before. It was like a few days. He's like, hey, I need you to take some money out of our savings for this. We got to pay for something. I was like, yes. Yeah. And I was like, I borrowed like $200, but I almost had it all paid back. Whenever I had to borrow some money, and I put it back, and I was like, there it is. But it was like just on the dime when I filled it back up, dude. But that's when I was like, all right. I came back, and I was like, and I cut off. I said, no drugs for 90 days was my rule. No drinking indefinitely. And then it was no women for, I think it was supposed to be 90s, but I met a girl and I switched to 30 or something like that. But it was like,
you really stick to your guns.
I tried to, man. No, the drugs went 89 days. Okay. Because of a fucking comedy show. Okay. At that place in Beach Park. And we did the show. It went well. I helped produce the show on accident. Like, my friends were like, hey, Giovanni, can you help us with the show? All you got to do is host and book the comics. We'll take care of the rest. And I was like, all right. There was like a few days before the show, I tell my friends like, hey, what's going on with the show? Whatever. He's like, I'm going to the casino. And I was like, the show's in 2 days. He's like, I'm going to the casino. And then I was like, what's going on with ticket sales? And then I got like a campaign where I just messaged people for 3 days straight, nonstop, just do, like 24/7. And then it was a good show, and it was a relief. I drank club soda the whole time. I didn't drink anything, but they were the owner. Some of the people were in the back, and they brought the comics. They're like, hey, we want to do this white drug with these comedians. So I maybe brought some comics back. I don't know. And then the guy was like, here, you wanna do something? And I was like, no, I had a rule.
Can we do this tomorrow?
yeah, exactly.
Can we wait till midnight?
I was like, 90. I was like, dude, I'm 89 days. I'm 1 day away. And he was like, come on. I was like, I'll give you that. So
That's all it took.
You can't say no to free whatever that particular drug was.
Right.
What was your rock bottom? Was it? Do you have a specific one, or was it?
I killed a family of 6. One of them was in a car seat. The little boy, his teeth were charred into the back of his. Anyways, comedy. Sorry. I found out. I found out an ex of mine was real sick, and we weren't dating. We hadn't dated in a couple of years. I found out she was real sick, and I started drinking doubles at this comedy club in San Diego.
Oh,
and then I drew second show. And I don't know if you ever experienced, but like when you're going through something emotional, you destroy on stage because you're just like feeling it. So this awesome show. And then in between shows, I remember I called my mom and dad. I'm like bawling, and I'm like, so sick. I think she might die. And this blah blah, and and I still like love this girl, but like we weren't together anymore. And so then I drank doubles, and then on the way home, cops started following me. I'm driving in San Diego, and I remember just this feeling of relief, like it's over.
Yeah,
it's over. Like I'm gonna get a DUI. I can't afford to be a comic anymore. I'm going to move back to Chicago. I'm going to go get a real job. I'm going to go back into the corporate world. Like this is just, and I'm going to go take care of this girl. Right. And we're going to get back together. We're going to get married, and I'm going to, cause I can fix all of this. And they didn't pull me over. And I drove home, and I was staying at my buddy's place. I was using his place. He wasn't there. And I was like, all right, no more drinking and driving. And then that Monday I went to Vegas. I was performing in Vegas for a week, and I drank every single night. And my rule was you can't drink until the show's over.
Yeah.
But then you're just drinking in the green room because all the liquor's in the green room. And, I'm just doing all this crazy Vegas shit and, like, hooking up and, like, just being a fucking idiot. And then my friend comes in that weekend, and she's like, hey, I'm going to stay with you. I just broke up with my boyfriend. I'm going to come out to Vegas. I got a suite in Vegas. I'm like, yeah, sounds cool. Like, she's hot, blah, blah. Let's hook up, blah, blah, blah. I didn't say that part to her, but it was like, you're coming to Vegas to visit me in my suite, like, we're going to park, we weren't. We didn't. And I remember, like she rejected me, and so I got drunk one night, and nothing happened. Let me say that right now. Nothing happened, but I treated her like shit. I was mad at her. I was, like, angry at her. We were sleeping, like, in the same bed. I'm like, go sleep on the couch, like... And I woke up and I apologized profusely to her for being acting like a 5-year-old. And I'm driving home from Vegas, and it was Labor Day weekend. And I'm driving home, and it's taking me through the desert because there's so much traffic on the highway. And I realized it's 5 hours to get home, but usually it's only 3.5 because the traffic was so bad. And I realized like 3 hours into the drive that I hadn't turned on any music. I was just deep in my thoughts. And the thought was like, you've been talking forever about quitting drinking. Like you can't, like, it's cute when you're in your 20s and you fuck off. You know what I mean? Like, oh, sorry, I was being a dick last night. Whatever. We're in our 20s. But when you're, like, going to be 40 and all of a sudden you're, like, apologizing to your, like, close friends for your behavior, like, I just didn't like who I became. Like, some people, like, and I explain this all the time, like, some people have a couple cocktails and they fucking feel a little buzz, feeling loose. They go home, they go on with their lives. You know what I'm saying? Like, for me, it's like a demon comes out when I drink.
The demon, yeah, I know the demon.
And I want to just destroy the world, and I want to sabotage everything around me. I want to sabotage my career, my relationships. I don't believe in myself. All these emotions that I have come out when I'm drinking, but they come out amplified. You know what I'm saying? So like I want to fight, but I'm like the smallest guy in the room. You know what I mean? Like, what the fuck, bro? And again, like in your 20s, you can get away with that shit for a long time because we're invincible in our 20s. But as I got closer to 40,
you're like, what are you doing?
What are you doing, man? And so I had the same debate that you had, which was just like, look, I'm gonna put these rules in place. I quit drinking liquor for a long time. I'm only gonna drink beer, and I never really did drugs anyways. And so I was like, all right, cool. But then like those rules don't work, and you don't stick to that. And I realized that my relationship with alcohol was I like getting fucked up. It wasn't like I'm an adult who can have a couple of drinks.
I fucking love it.
I like getting fucked up, but the problem is, drink responsibly. No. Why? But I look back and I leave this path of destruction behind me, and that to me was unacceptable. And the whole point of drinking is to have fun, and I wasn't having fun anymore. Like that, at the end of the day, that's what it boiled down to, and that's why I can say like I don't drink anymore, don't do drugs anymore, because I wasn't having any more fun. You know what I mean? If you could convince me that I could do it again and it would be fun again, maybe. But I have a feeling that I'm going to go right back to like where I was and not be fun. Like no one ever walked away from drinking with Ken Garr and was just like, oh, that was awesome, dude. No, like, what the fuck who's that weird guy you brought? Like, who's the guy staring at a campfire with a tear rolling down his eye for 3 hours? And then got into the fire. Like, I don't have any hair on my left calf because I just decided I can jump into this fire. I'm a fucking idiot. You know what I mean? So that was my rock bottom was Vegas, and it was just like, and it wasn't even like this cool, like, I was broke, I was homeless. Like, dude, I've like going to like these meetings, and there's been dudes who've like sold like 30 million records that don't have a pot to piss in.
Yeah.
They don't have a pot to piss in. I'm like, oh man. So I didn't have this huge rock bottom. I just had this decision, which was just like, I don't want to fucking be that guy no more.
When did you start drinking? Like, do you remember the first time?
Yeah, first time I was like 12.
Oh, you see, I was late. I was like
11,
20.
12.
Or like I was maybe 18, 20. I started late, and then it slowly like devolved. You know what I mean? Like 12 was it parents or?
No, my brother. My brother is 12 and a half years older than me, and so those guys like smoke weed, and then I was like, I'm gonna sleep over at my brother's. And then I slept over, and I'm like, can I have a beer? I think I was like 11 or 12. He was like, yeah, I told mom and dad, And I drank it. I was nasty.
Yeah,
but then,
I hated it.
Yeah, I hated it. But then I was just like, and then the first time I drank, like got drunk, I had a half a bottle of vodka and 12 beers. The first time I ever drank. Because I was just like, oh, you're supposed to stop? Like that, I don't stop. You know what I mean? I go to a wedding and they're like, we're going to close down for an hour for dinner. I'm like, fuck you, dude. Like, why would you close? Like, I'll bartend. It's cool.
Did you chase? How did you drink? Mixed drinks? Did you get to a point where you were chasing? Or how did you drink? Just mixed drinks or whatever? There was a point where it was like I was chasing for a few years. So when I first started, one of my friends taught me how to chase. So they're like, oh, look, just put a little chaser, then the vodka, and then chaser, and you're not going to taste anything. And I was like, oh, okay.
No, I remember in high school we were putting vodka in a Snapple.
Oh,
we would mix it with Snapple, and then we got then I went through my wine cooler years, Bartles and James, and then we went through like what was that? Zima, yeah,
which is back now is that White Claw now? Zima flavored White Claw.
White Claw,
yeah. And then I drank. And then I went to college. College fucked me up, man, because I got to college. First night I was in college, I drank, and I looked at my watch. I'm like, I gotta go. It's curfew, and they're like, there is no curfew here. I'm like, oh, that's right. I can just drink forever, And I would. We drank, dude. I'd have friends come visit me in college, and they're like, we're never gonna come see you ever again because it was just we drank too much. It was just we partied. And I was like, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, we didn't drink unless there was Monday Night Football. And then, of course, South Park was on Tuesday. And, so it's like we always found a reason, to drink,
I used to think I just drank on weekends, but I was like, I remember I was like, okay, I would drink Saturdays. I was like, oh, yeah, but then Tuesday was ladies' night. Right. And then Monday was dollar beers. And then looking back, I was like,
Thursday was dollar beer. Thursday's college night.
College night was Thursday night, ladies' night. And it was
Sunday Night Football.
Or Sunday was industry night, so I knew people in industry, so they get discounts, and I won't go with my friend. He's industry, you know what I mean? And then it's like, oh wow, maybe I drank more than I thought.
Maybe come to a meeting with me.
No, so that year,
I'll save you a chair.
I was just thinking about. I was thinking about it today or yesterday, right? Because I had an urge yesterday to smoke crystal meth because.
Okay.
Well, I was on my podcast. This guy named Two Skin, he's a comedian here, and he told me a story about.
I just worked with him.
Oh, you did? Yeah, you just did.
Joe's on Weed.
Joe, yeah.
Really funny guy.
Yeah, so I just recorded his podcast. He told me something. He wanted to have me on because previous, I've used to do drugs, allegedly hookers, blah blah blah. So he had a story like that he wanted to tell, and he told the story. And I was sitting there, and the whole time it was like my reaction was like, "Oh, that's horrible." And it was like, "Man, I kind of want to fuck a hooker again," right? Like just brought back because the danger I heard, like it brought back the demon, right? So,
yeah.
And then he was talking about the crystal meth, how it went down. And when he was done, I was like, man, I kind of want to smoke crystal, which I was like, I shouldn't. It was like what do they say? It transfers, right? Like you have an addiction, but you change it to something else. You know what I mean? Like it's there. You know what I mean? I might not be using it for that, but it was like, I was like, oh, it's.
So I quit drinking
here.
and then I smoked weed for a year. And then finally I was like talking.
You're not LA sober?
Yeah, I was LA sober.
Okay.
Yeah, but I'm like, but weed for me was just like, oh, cool. We're going to watch something funny. I'm going to eat a fucking Twinkie and I'm going to go to bed. Like I wasn't like calling exes like, why did you break up with me 9 years ago? On weed. But then I like wanted, again, but I had just, but then I also then noticed like I was smoking weed once a week and then it was twice a week and then it was 3 times a day. And then it was like, and then I was an old smoker. So I would smoke a joint like it was a cigarette. So now I'm smoking a whole joint by myself. And then I'm just like too high. So then I'm like, all right, I'm going to quit smoking weed, and then like sex became a thing, where it's just like, I'm going to have sex a lot. I want to have sex with everybody. I want to like, and then that became, so yeah, you definitely, like I was playing like whack-a-mole with all these addictions. And then all of a sudden I just kind of like went cold turkey on everything and actually went into like withdrawal from like just because, like I said, all of this shit just comes up.
Yeah,
you just have to start for the first time in your life. You're just dealing with who the fuck you are, and you're like, because my biggest fear when I got sober is like, what if I'm a terrible person? Like, what if I find out? Like, I'm gonna find out the truth. No matter what, I'm gonna fucking face this reckoning. But what if you're a piece of shit? And I got past that, and I was like, oh, you're a pretty good guy. Like, you got some flaws.
I was scared to have sex sober because I didn't have sex sober for like years. You know what I mean?
Oh, it's so great.
So it was like
it's the best.
Yeah, and I was like, oh shit, this is like because now I have sober sex. So my girlfriend didn't have sober sex for it was like I didn't even remember how it was. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I was was afraid. I was like, I don't know. It was weird to me. I was like, I don't want to have sex sober. Like that's icky. Like that's gross. You can touch somebody and they're there. They're so
I have to have self-esteem.
Yeah. Like.
I have to have self-worth when I do this. I have to care about them and look in their eyes. Oh, God. It's awesome.
Yeah, because I was like...
Was your experience good, or was it still... Did it take some getting used to?
No, it was good, but it was like... It was... I was like, oh, shit. It was like... It was scary, because I was like... It was almost like going on a first date again for me. Like, I went... I was like,
So are you sober right now? Are you sober, dude, or do you still drink?
I kind of drink so I stopped drinking that year, right? And then, so that year I didn't drink at all. And then there's a point where, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know if it's accepted in AA or if it's not considered, but for the last, I forgot, year, like I'll drink occasionally, but I don't, let's see, I don't really get drunk.
Okay.
I don't get wasted. Like I drank this weekend, right? I had a few shots with my friends. And then that's kind of it.
God bless you, man.
You know what I mean? Like
that's great.
So it's been that, and but that first year I was gonna I tried to reintroduce drinking kind of not quickly, but it was that year. I remember I was at my cousin's birthday, and there were like whiskeys and alcohol. There was like this fancy whiskey, and I like whiskey. I was a whiskey person. I was like, ooh, what is that? And I was like, let me taste it, right? And I remember I just had a little taste of their whiskey, and I just felt this rush.
Hell yeah.
And then I just saw a bottle of vodka, and I knew that I wanted to fucking kill it. You know what I mean? Like I knew, and I was like, oh, back to no drink. Because like at that point, I wasn't. I don't know. There was a point where I was here. Maybe I fixed myself a little bit more. Where it was like, okay, there's a point where I was, oh shit, I could actually drink and not go off the rails. Like I had a drink or two, or maybe not beer. I'm not a beer. Beer's just.
I would love that, but
no, like
not an option.
It was. Yeah, it wasn't like it wasn't
like
there.
if I go back, it's like. Ken died in Mexico. What?
yeah.
Oh yeah, man. Fucking use a bodyguard for Narcos and fucking wait, what? Ken Garr? Like, yeah, that's what happened.
Yeah, because I got to like I said, I've said this before. Like I woke up, you wake up in different places. And like I woke up in streets.
I woke up, my shoes were smoking or on fire or fuck, like Yeah, I just woke up like, how did I get? First of all, where am I?
Yeah.
Wake up in your car. It's just.
And you explain to people what the people like don't believe what blacking out is. You've blacked,
every time.
Yeah, they don't believe it. They're like, no, you remember. It's like you don't understand. It's
dude,
like,
I grabbed my friend's girlfriend's ass hard.
I think I hit on my cousin once.
Hard. Dude, bro, we should talk about. Let's do that.
All right.
Reset the clock. You grab your cousin's ass once?
No. I think
your friend's cousin.
My cousin, I think at the end of the night, she told me the next day, like, you were getting a little bit, like, weird.
Yeah.
And I was like, no.
Oh, yeah.
And I remember that next day, like, I found 2 pictures of me, not me and my cousin, some other girl.
Uh-huh.
And the next day, I was like, I don't remember taking these.
Right.
And it's like, I don't remember this night. And she's like, oh, yeah, you were kind of like getting weird. I was like,
so the next time,
it grossed me out so
next time I
fucking
saw
much.
that girl, my buddy's like, takes me aside. He's like, bro, you got this hat.
apologize.
What? I was like appalled. I would never do that. It's my friend.
That's my cousin, dude.
Yeah, we went to high school there. I'm like, what? I go, what? I'm so sorry. Like, I quit drinking. It was like right toward the end, I go, it's completely unacceptable. I'm not that person. I felt like shit. But, yeah, dude, you do crazy shit when you're fucking drunk and high. And it's like I said, for a while, it's fun. And then after a while, it's like, it's not fun.
No, like, I've not ruined people's lives. Well, I had an ex where I feel like, for a few years, like, I fucking must have done some damage. You know what I mean? Like,
Sure.
I remember one where it was New Year's, right? And okay, this is gonna go into allegedly territory, right? Allegedly, we're at a party, and my rule, I knew I had a problem with alcohol, right?
Right.
So I was like, hey, I got a deal. I won't drink, but let me just do some Molly.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
And she was like, absolutely not. I'm not gonna be dating some drug addict. Blah 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 blah. So now I'm angry, right? And I was like, because I'm in my head, I was like, I'm trying to help you. You know what I mean? I know how much of a fucking raging drunk I am, but I can, for the most part, allegedly, I was able to handle most drugs. I didn't.
Yeah.
It was booze that I had the issue with, like
Yeah.
booze. So I was like, let me do it. And I'm doing, and I'm thinking like I'm helping her out, and I'm mad at her, and I remember like. I was like, all right, not gonna let me do Molly. Well, I'm gonna get fucking wasted, right? So
I'll show you.
I'll show you, right? I start paying. So it was an open bar that you paid for, so you get free booze. And I was like, all right, I'll take a Ketel One. We don't have Ketel One. All right, so I start paying for my drinks now. Like, so I'm angry. So now I'm wasting my money.
Yep.
I'm drinking, and I remember like. There was this one girl that I invited back to our place together, right? And she was not cool with that. And then apparently I was asking all these people for drugs, which I still don't believe it, actually. I think this is one guy I didn't like who was dating one of her friends who was a cokehead. And I went up to her and I was like, in my head, I was like, I'm gonna show his girl that this guy's a piece of shit. So I was like, you got coke? You gotta go, because I wanted to set him up and he'd be like, yeah, coke.
Right.
But you're
See,
drunk.
he's cokehead. Told you.
So I'm drunk, so it's not coming out in my head. It's like, oh, I'm setting this guy up.
Yeah,
I'm setting
yeah,
him up. But what you see on the other side is like, you got coke?
You got coke. Do you have cocaine?
Yeah,
I would love that. Because I know you're a piece of shit.
Yeah. So that didn't work out. Hey, you were talking about the demon earlier. So my demon, I had a thing. I don't know why. I thought there was a thing in me where when I would drink, I thought like, oh, this is my chance to do things I can't do sober and get away with it. Yeah, that was like, that's when the hookers would happen. Like I'd be like, I don't know how I start. Oh yeah, fucking caddy, some old Mexican. I used to caddy, right?
Yeah.
And then some old Mexican caddy, we're like younger kids, and they're like, we're talking about something. It's like, oh yeah, you guys want to have sex? What about this? There's a whorehouse, and I was like, what?
What?
Yeah, what? And I was like, park, and then they took us. We went, and then I was like, and I had sex for money, not for money. I paid for sex,
right,
and I felt like it felt so weird. I felt disgusted, right?
Yeah.
And then I did the second time. I was like, no, this isn't too bad. So then I fucking went on a fucking rampage. I would get off in caddy, stop by. It was like a routine, like going to get gas, going, blah, hooker, home, like for a summer, like 23. It was like Jordan. It was like blah, blah, blah. And then but like they closed down that website back. But yeah, it became like an addiction, you know what I mean? And that's sex, the drugs, chips. I can only have 8 Pringles a day right now. I used my friend's link card, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Their WIC card, and used their card to buy food. So I bought these chips, and I was like, all right, I'm going to get I buy the little Pringles now because the big one I finish. And so I bought the little one, but I went to Meijer and they're a little bit bigger. And I was like, I'm just going to have a few, save some for my girlfriend. She never saw them, didn't hear about them.
Right.
And then the next day I went and bought another one, finished the same thing. So then I had to set. The fucking.
I think it's safe to say you might have an addictive personality.
Yes.
Okay. I don't know. I'm not a doctor.
I realized
I can't say that.
And I always thought I wasn't, but I realized
Right.
it yesterday, and I was like, dude, I'm thinking about crystal meth. Like, why?
Yeah.
And my dad, I just found out 2 weeks ago, was doing crystal. And I was
Oh.
making fun of him to my family. I was like, he's almost 60. How do
Yeah.
you start crystal at 60? What's wrong with this guy?
Yeah.
And then yesterday, I was like, oh.
That sounds amazing.
He's like, wait, were you the police almost arrested you and
Yeah.
you went out? And
It's like every time I see the golden arches in McDonald's, like, why is the car turning? Don't turn. And I'm getting this terrible food. That
Do you eat better now? Is everything?
I eat horribly now. Because my body still craves the sugar.
Yeah, right.
Right? So I don't drink alcohol anymore, but my body's just like, hey, we're used to so much sugar per day. We want that still. And then I was like talking to like some other guys that are sober, and they're like, yeah, they're like, just eat whatever the fuck you want to eat, and then eventually that'll go away. So I'm still waiting for that. Eventually that'll go
How
away.
long has it been?
It's been 3.5 years, but I think food is my last like frontier. I think I got that's my last thing to tackle. And I'm not like a dude where I'm not like, I'm going to sit blah, 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 like binge eating or whatever, but I just love sweets. I love them, and I get fucking
Like cake.
I love it,
pies.
but again, I never fucking ate a bunch of Oreos and bothered an ex-girlfriend or cheated on somebody or like, all the destructive shit. So I was like, all right, well, the worst thing you do is fucking put on a couple of pounds and you like Oreos. Like, all right.
Yeah.
But I go to the gym, try to work out and I try my best. But then you go on the road and it's hard. It's hard finding those healthy options on the road.
Did you become a gym? Like I started running. I remember at a point, and I would run, and I would just run. What is it? I forgot. Tom Ryan said something. I was running away from the demons. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That was me. Like after
My thing now is online video games. So it's been like that for a while, but like that's now my outlet. And I get mad and I scream at the TV and shit. And my wife is like, "What?" I go, "I don't have anything else in my life. I don't have girls. I don't have drugs. I don't have alcohol. I have you, and I have this fucking video game. Please let me yell at it. Please, for the love of God, I have to get this rage out." You know what I'm saying? Because
You
gotta
have to. You have to.
And I think there's definitely healthier alternatives like running and going to the gym and like doing that. But for me, just shooting some imaginary fucking whatever is like, oh yeah.
What do you play?
I just play Warzone.
Okay,
Like
tight.
Call of Duty, and then I played SOCOM before that, and like that's my outlet right now, and my outlet's food and video games, and and right now those like are things that like why I feel like they're a waste of time and they're unhealthy, but like gotta have something right now in this moment. I have to have something, so who knows? But,
yeah, mine was food. Like mine was I would use food as to stop me from drinking or doing something bad, because it's like, all right,
yeah.
drink, do drugs, hit up some Waukegan thought chick whose baby daddy's a gangbang or something, or
Right.
eat a bunch of food. You know what I mean? So it's like I would call myself a viceaholic, because I had some vice I had to get out. So it's like if I wouldn't, I was like, all right, I would reward myself. I didn't do this. I didn't go out with these girls.
Right.
So
Yeah, I do
get
that
to-
a lot.
Yeah, so I get to eat all this food tonight. You know what I mean?
I've done that where I'm just like, all right, you didn't drink at the comedy club tonight, so I'm gonna get some McDonald's on the way back. Like do that shit. But yeah, I did that Noom diet thing for like
Which one's Noom?
Noom is just like this app, and it's just, you get assigned to like an actual trainer, and like you put your calories in, and but it educates you. Like it educates you about addiction, it educates you about your snacking, it educates you. So I lost like 10 pounds. I got down to like 192. I was like 208. I got down to 192, and then I'm at like 196 right now. It's because I've been on the road for the last 3 weeks just eating junk food. But I'm not like I don't beat myself up about that shit anymore. You know what I'm saying? Because again, like when I compare it to like what I was doing 5 years ago and like the kind of life I was leaving, this trail of destruction. It's like, all right, fucking, you got McDonald's tonight. All right, cool.
What was one of your worst like Ken Garr so drunk episodes?
Well, the famous one was I went to a comedy festival in Billings, Montana, and it was my first time meeting the booker of the Tonight Show and Conan, and the head of casting for CBS, NBC, and like ABC was there. Comedy Central was there. Like all these bigwigs were there just to look at like 10 of us. And the first night they're like, we're gonna have the drinking show, or you're gonna get fucked up. and then you're gonna do a set, and then you're gonna be sober, do a set, get fucked up, and then do another set. And I didn't even get picked to do it. I wasn't even one of the guys, but I'm like in the green room and like sponsored by tequila. I'm like, fuck yeah. And I got super drunk because in my brain I wasn't good enough to be there. I wasn't funny enough, and I shouldn't, and so I started sabotaging myself. I got fucked up the first night. Then they took me to the casino. And now I'm playing poker against these fucking yokels in Billings, and I'm motherfucking them. You're a piece, whatever, blah blah. And I lost a bunch of money, and then I left, and I go to Denny's, and they won't even serve me. I don't know why. I think I probably fell asleep in the booth. I get up and I leave Denny's, and then I got into a fight with a hotel security guard over a fucking M&Ms, and I put a hole through the wall. And then I wake up the next day.
This is normal stuff.
I wake up the next day and I'm covered in M&Ms. And my roommate, who I didn't even met yet, he's like, "Hey, I'm Jordan." I'm like, "Hey, man, what's up?" He's like, "Yeah, they want to talk to you downstairs." I'm like, "Cool." And I'm like, I go down there with like all this enthusiasm. I'm hungover as fuck. I'm like, "What's up, guys?" They're like, "Yeah, we want you to pack your bags and leave." I'm like, "The what now?" Like, "Yeah, no, you're out of the festival." I was like, "What? Why?" And because I didn't have any recollection of any of this shit. And I apologized profusely. I wrote a letter to the hotel. I'll fucking blah blah blah. And then we all go bowling, team activity or whatever, and I finally meet the fucking booker of the Tonight Show, and I was like so excited. I mean, I spent like 13 years in sales. Like, I got this, dude. I'm gonna get this dude. I go, "Hi, I'm Ken.
Him tonight.
I'm gonna close tonight. We're gonna be at Tonight Show by Thursday." I go, "Hello, sir. I'm Ken Garr." He goes, "Hey," he goes, "You beat up any security guards lately?" I'm like, "Oh,
no.
fuck. Oh no." And that's who I was. Like that whole weekend, that's who I was. And then like, I'm hungover for my first set. I have a shitty set, and you bomb that, it's fucking catastrophic, Next night I have a much better set. I let loose. I was just like, fuck it. I had a better set. I relaxed. But the damage was done. I didn't make the finals. So I didn't get to like showcase in the finals and get in front of them again. And, fast forward, I'm sober and I'm friends with a lot of these guys now. Yeah. I'm tight with not tight, but I know the Tonight Show guy, and I've reached out and I've apologized and been like, "Dude, I feel like shit." And he's just like, "You're a good dude. Don't worry about it." And you get second chances in life, man. So like, even if like you're like even at your worst, like still people are still gonna be like, "All right, man, I'll give you another chance." Like, we just but like that motivates me every single day to like not fuck around and like not take any of this shit for granted.
It's not an insult. I'm gonna put you in this category, right? Yeah. And there was people like I think it was Tommy. There were some people I was like, I always thought, how come Tommy Davidson isn't bigger? He's like a funny dude, right? I didn't know. And then I was like, how come Pablo Francisco isn't bigger? I didn't know. And then I found out, Tommy had a coke thing. There was like all this stuff that was holding them. Because like these are talented dudes, you know what I mean? And I think, you know what I mean? Like I think I mentioned to Skinny, I was like, man, Ken, he's one of the funniest dudes. Like I know he's as funny as these top guys, but he's not quite there yet. Like it's, but I know he's, he can hang with all these top dudes. Yeah. You know what I mean? But then we find out, there was like this thing.
Every showcase, I just shot myself in the face. Every showcase, every time hey man, Netflix is here. Cool. I'm gonna go ruin all of this real quick. Hi, are you Netflix? Like, my name's Sarah, but you're Netflix, right? Let me just bomb in front of you. Yeah, and here's what, man. I got sober, and I'm not one of these dudes. I'm like, I don't give a fuck. Like people are like, oh man, like people get uncomfortable. I don't give a shit, man. Like I fucking do your thing. But sobriety for me gave me my time back. So all that time I spent on the couch hungover, all that time I spent trying to chase fucking girls and drugs and alcohol, like getting fucked up, and like in my brain it was like, this is gonna be a great story. And then wake up the next day and go,
rationalize.
What was the story? Like, like what the fuck? Like I love your Miami story, but there are some pockets missing. And so now I have like more time to write, which makes me a better comedian because now I'm focused more on my career. And now I can go, like I 3 weeks ago or a month ago, I followed Bill Burr. I had to follow him. Originally, I was supposed to go first, and then Bill was going to go. And he's like, man, I got to get out of here. I'm going to go. I don't mean to bump you, but I'm going to go. Because on the other side, I'm like, yeah, you got it. And then I'm like in the back, I'm like, man, you got to follow fucking Bill Burr. And I crushed. I destroyed because I'm fucking believing myself for the first time in my life. Like I fucking can do this. I have self-confidence. I have self-worth. Like like I can do this. You know what I'm saying? And like, if I weren't sober, like, I would have found another reason. Like, oh, I'm going to follow Bill Burr? Cool. I'll be right back. Can I get a double captain? And, you know, I was in Vegas last week performing at the MGM Grand, right? And this is the first time I've ever done this, but I'm never uncomfortable around alcohol, but they had fucking Captain Morgan, the biggest bottle I've ever seen in the green room. And I finally told the GM, Ed, is a friend of mine, I go, bro, you got an 86 that Captain Morgan. I go, I'm fine. I go, but I just keep looking at it. And I go, put it somewhere, and I don't tell me where you put it. And you know what? The Tito stayed, the vodka stayed, everything else stayed. But like you were saying, like when he mentioned that crystal meth, there's something that triggers my brain, and I'm just like, oh, hello, spiced rum.
Oh man,
we've gone sailing many a day, my friend.
Oh god, yeah, mine was Black Label.
Yeah,
Black Label. Like we down bottles of Black Label.
Yeah,
Dude,
I bought a bottle of Southern Comfort one time, and the girl that was a Jewel. The girl with Jewel.
I love.
I was like, oh, she goes. I don't know why she said this. She goes, oh, this will last you a couple weeks. I go, bitch, this is gone tonight. Tonight. I go, the only reason I'm not going to finish this bottle is if I run out of Coke, like Diet Coke, like not Coke, but like that's the only reason I'm going to stop drinking this is that my mixer's gone.
I remember the lady at Jewel knew me because every weekend, every Friday at the liquor store, it was a handle of Smirnoff, the 2 monsters I would drink, like and it was. I remember that. Oh God, do you remember the first time like you weren't sober or you were sober you were hungover on a weekend? It was like a Saturday. I had all day to do. It was crazy to me.
Yeah,
like, I was like, wait, it was a Saturday and I wasn't hungover and I had all this extra time. It's
my God, that's what
crazy.
It is.
Yeah, it was crazy.
I got my time back. Probably 50% of my time was either in the pursuit of getting fucked up or recovering from getting fucked up. Like you take those 3 things away. I remember the first wedding I went to sober. I was uncomfortable. You know what I'm saying? Open bar. You know, I'm with this girl that I shouldn't be with. Like I'm trying to impress her. I'm like, and then finally midnight hit. All my buddies are fucked up. They're like, we're at another bar. I'm like, I'm gonna go home with this girl. Like, they're like, come on, man. I'm like, nothing good is going to happen.
No.
None of you guys are going to remember any of this shit anyways. I'm going to be like, hey, how was the bar after the wedding? Like, I think it was fun. We just had a couple when we left. And like,
I remember I was at a bar and I was there sober because that was during my sober time. And me and my friend, my buddy was sober. He looked at everybody and I was like, this was us. And it's like, you look and I was like,
oh, it's the worst.
And I was like, that was me. And you don't think it's you. And it's like, this guy looks so sloppy. That was me. And it's like, oh my God.
I was at Zany's Rosemont this weekend and there's a dude in the front and he was just, I made him the show. Mm-hmm. I didn't have a choice because he was so distractive. So finally I just started doing crowd work and talking to him. And I literally looked at him at one point during the show and I go, oh man, I'm just looking at myself 4 years ago. And it went right over his head. No. But like my wife was in the back and was just like, God damn, dude, like that's so real, you know? Because like I know you, I know who you are, I know what you're going through.
Quick question before I get the plugs here.
Yeah.
Would they accept somebody like me in AA, or because I do drink occasionally, am I like it's like taboo? Like I shouldn't be in there.
You shouldn't be in there.
Yeah, right.
So here's what I would tell you. Here's the thing, man. Like, so like you just don't say. They're like, is anybody, you know, how long have you been sober? Like, 5 days. You know, like, you know, you raise your hand. Oh, I've been sober 7 days. Well, 5 days. Mm-hmm. But go check it out. And if you're gonna keep drinking, like, cool. Like, mm-hmm. I would rather have you in AA if you have a problem. Mm-hmm. I don't know, man. I'm not like I said, it's not my thing. But if you think you have a problem, I'd rather you go check out AA than not. You know what I'm saying? Because at least you get an idea of like, oh, this is it for me or this isn't it for me. I walked into AA and I sat around and I'm just like, fucking losers. And then this one guy's like, said the one thing and I'm like, that was interesting what he said there. Right? Like, I was like, oh. And then someone else says something like, well, you know, I didn't have a terrible rock bottom. I just know that whenever I have one drink, I can't stop drinking. I'm like, that's fascinating what she said. And you start picking apart this thing. But like, I'd rather if you think you have a problem and you think about going, go. And if you decide to get fucked up, just be honest about it. Nah, man, I got, you know, they say you can't like share if you've had a drink within 24 hours. That's it. It's the only rule.
Okay.
You know, but if you've been sober for 4 days and you feel like you got something you gotta get off your chest, like that for me is what AA has done for me is just like, I got some shit I gotta say. And like, all right, want to go say it with a room full of people that think like you? Like, that sounds amazing. I'll go do that. Because if I walked into a regular room, I walk into an Arby's and be
crazy.
like, I'm really having trouble with my wife. And I'm like, do you want a beef and cheddar, sir? What the fuck you want? But if I walk into a room of people that are like think like me, that are constantly chasing that demon, keeping my demon at bay, they're like, I get it, man. I fucking feel you, dog.
I like it. Do you have any plugs?
Alcoholics Anonymous. No.
This will be out in a few weeks.
No, but I have a blog called the Sober Husband Blog.
Okay.
Right? And so if you guys want to go, you can go to kengarr.com/blog. And basically every once in a while I talk about like being in a marriage sober and how it affects my wife, how it affects me. Talk about following Bill Burr and like what that meant to me as a sober dude. So again, kengarr.com/blog. And then if you guys want to follow me on Instagram and Twitter and all that shit, Ken Garr was taken. So I wanted Ken Garr, but it was taken. So you guys can follow me, and then I got my schedule up to date at kengarr.com. I'll be in. I don't know when this is coming up. Yeah. So that's what I'm doing, man.
Those, yeah. I mean, whatever. A different one, but not myself. But kind of like my penis touches it sometimes. James, like when it's on top of the. All right.
Stand Up is back. Get tickets right fucking now at standup.net. I'm not sure when this is going to come out, but probably Joe McMahon will be on the show that I am plugging for. So standup.net for tickets. If you want to start a podcast in Chicago, we are the least expensive room for the most bang for your buck that you can get in town. Just hit us up at People of Comedy Network on Instagram.
Okay, follow the Loading Podcast on Instagram, TikTok. Do you have a TikTok?
Yeah.
Okay.
Ken Garr was taking the same thing.
Ken Garr was taking TikTok.
I'm up to 58 followers. I just joined it last week.
Keep grinding, baby.
Dude, Pete Lee was like 6 months ago. Was like, you got to join TikTok. I'm like, fuck that shit. And now he's just like theaters. I'm like, oh, I guess I should have done that.
So follow Taylor on TikTok. Tell a friend about the podcast. And if you have a drinking problem,
hit
go
me
to
up,
AA.
man.
Hit up Ken.
I don't care.
One of my listeners, he's been sober, I think, 60 days. He was
awesome.
From like me talking on this. So.
Hey man, I'm not trying to sell this shit. I mean that. But if you want to talk about it, like hit me up on Facebook. I'll answer any question you have, dude. I don't give a shit.
All right. Lobo down.
Lobo